Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to look at the Ratling rules previews that hit Warcom earlier today. So, I'm going to go through, like I always do, picking out the relevant parts of the article and presenting them in an interesting order, which I think gets my points across better. So, we're going to start with Ogrins, okay? Just picking out one sentence from the article here. Under the slow but sturdy Ogrins, of whom you can take up to 3 in a Ratling kill team. So as I've talked about before, everyone's weirdly excited about Ogrins, and I think this is because of the Space Marines are currently really dominating the meta, right? And I talked about this a little bit on one of the hobby stream videos. Space Marines are currently really dominating the meta, and the normal reaction for a lot of people is that they want something that's kind of Space Marine adjacent, right? Playing a Horde team really does seem like giving yourself a headache for no reason. But also, a lot of people don't want to play the current filth, right? They don't want to play actual Space Marines. So, whenever these kind of other options that are kind of in the elite territory, I think it's why Eldar are so popular at the moment. These options that are kind of in the elite territory but aren't quite the thing that everyone's moaning about, people are really interested in them. And it could be subconsciously that's why I'm interested in the Orc team. If you watch my Orc video, I'm like, oh, I'm weirdly drawn towards the Orcs, right? So I think there's a lot of people, and I've seen this a lot of times in various bits of online discourse, often on Discord, right? Join the Discord, link in the description. Saying, oh, I'm really excited for Ogrins. I want to run them as an Ogrin heavy team. I wonder what an Ogrin heavy team will be like. Blah, 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 blah. I think Ogrins are likely to be a bit of a damp squib. I'll tell you for why. If you remember the Phobos team, that's the other team we've had where there's a... And if you go and buy this extra 40k box, you can add these, and it's the Reavers. And Reavers are pretty cool, but what they are is bland. You know, they don't have... There's no Reaver specialists, right? A lot of the special rules don't seem to work around Reavers particularly much. So I think Ogrins are going to be in a similar space. I think they'll be good and powerful, but they'll be a little bit bland. And, you know, they're a multi-part plastic kit, but they're also about 14 years old. I mean, they're not like the best kit in the world. So, I don't know. Ogrins. It's cool that the maximum is 3, because that means you literally buy 1 box of Ogrins. There's your 3 Ogrins, off you go. You've now got everything you need, except that, of course, as I've covered previously in a video, the Ogrins kit can build Ogrins or Bulgrins or Nork Deadog, right? And the Bulgrins have 2 different loadouts, so, you know, they've said here, and the slow but sturdy Ogrins, of whom you can take up to 3. Does that mean that you could take 3 Ogrins and 3 Bulgrins? Or are they using Ogrin here to kind of mean Ogrins in general, of which Bulgrins are a sub-type, right? So, you know, it's one of those things where, because this isn't a, this isn't one of the little boxes where they've taken it from the rules PDF, this is just the marketing people editorializing, so I don't quite know if they mean really capital O Ogrins or just Ogrins in general. So, that remains to be seen. And then the other big question that goes along with that is how many Ratlings are you trading to get an Ogrin? And it's really hard to tell, because at the moment, it's probably going to be 2. It could be 3. That's not impossible. You know, if it's a 10-man team, you know, and you trade 3, that would only add 4, and the dog, I don't know, it's probably going to be 2. Yeah. And can you mix Ogrins and Bulgrins together? Presumably so. I doubt you can do 6 Ogrins. Not least because that would be 12. But we'll see. We'll see. All these things we will see. But it just sort of... It's confirmation that of something, right? It's confirmation that at least of Ogrins, as in the ones here with the green shirts and the red guns, you can only have 3. Whether that's 3 Ogrins/Bulgrins or whatever, we don't know, right? But... Ogrins are cool, I guess, in concept. Space Ogres, what's not like? Right, snipers. So we got the danger card for a Ratling sniper. So ABL2, 5-inch move, 5-up save, 6 wounds. Wow, 6 wounds is rough. Okay, 6 wounds is rough. But he's got a sniper rifle, It's a standard sniper rifle, but it's got no concealed profile. So Paul was looking over my... Sorry, Zimbad? Oh, I've just doxed you. Zimbad was looking over my shoulder when I was looking at this at work, and he was like, oh, the snipers don't even have conceal. But of course, you read the article and you learn that just because this is called the Ratling Sniper, what this actually is the Ratling Warrior. This is going to be the Billy Basic Ratling that you may not take any of. Like, I don't know how it's going to work, but this is going to be the Billy Basic Ratling. And then we learn from the text that they have concealed snipers known as sneaks with suppressed sniper rifles with the silent keyword. So they're going to have at least one, probably two, because they've pluralized sneaks, right? So they're going to have snipers available that do have the concealed ability, and these are just the basic warriors, okay? So that's the way to take this. Now, what's interesting, the sniper rifle stationary hits on 2 up, mobile hits on 3 up, so good, okay? And it is a really, for a basic guy to have a gun that's 4 dice hitting on 2s, 3 dev, 3 heavy, that's not bad. But no, it is heavy. Not heavy reposition only, not heavy dash. So if you move at all, use the mobile mobile profile. Except, and we'll get to the exception in a minute, okay? My gut feeling is, right, and I've said this before, Killzone Volkus. It's quite challenging to get a shot a lot of the time on Volkus because everyone's behind heavy, right? Now, it's not so bad if you're someone like a Marine and you can move like in full move, and then you shoot twice to the bolter and you kill them, or you move and shoot the bolter and dash straight into cover and stuff like that. Mobile shooting is still good, and people have said to me, Phil, that's the way it should be. And fair play, but it just, this kind of shooting, this exact kind of thing where you're trying to snipe, you're trying to sit up there on a vantage point and wait patiently, this doesn't seem like it's workable in the current Killzone to me. Again, they have got some rules that we're going to see in a minute that help them a bit, but just in general, I think it's potentially a losing proposition. I don't know. Bombers. So we then see a specialist. So we see the Ratling Bomber. So this guy's interesting. Okay, so same stat line. He's got an explosive arsenal, which is a grenade. Okay, so 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4, 5, range 3, 1-inch blast, heavy reposition only, limited 1, piercing 1, saturate. It's a pretty good grenade, right? It gets to have piercing 1 and blast 1, right? That's pretty good. Then he's got the sniper rifle, the same as we've seen, but this guy has less ballistic skills, so he's in on 4s and 3s instead of 3s and 2s, right? He's also got a bionic arm, giving him a little bit more. If we go back, like the regular Ratling fists are 3, 5 up, 1, 2. This guy gets to go for 3, 5 up, but then 3, 4, which is, it's not nothing, I suppose. Now he's got 2 big abilities, so tripwire. So when setting up equipment before the battle, you can set up 2 of your tripwire markers wholly within your territory and more than 2 from other markers. The first time that marker is within an enemy operative's control range, end that operative's action, if any, remove that marker and subtract 1 from the operative's APL until the end of the X activation. That's pretty cool. Now, rules as written, I think these have escaped the FAQ nerf, where so you could put these in a doorway. So anyone that comes through a doorway, the first time somebody comes through the doorway, they're going to have to end their activation and have -1 APL. End their action, their current action, of -1 APL. I think that's how that works. Like, it's when setting up equipment before the battle, you can set up 2 of your tripwire markers, but I don't think it's probably intended that these count as equipment and follow the general equipment rules, but there's nothing there to actually say that. So maybe that'll be FAQ'd, so they can't go in doorways and things. But right now you can put them in a door, you put them in a door into the dark, right? Anybody that comes through that door just stops dead as they come through the door. That might be worth doing. It might not be that good, but it's a good way of putting it somewhere where at least your opponent's going to interact with it. And then you've got mine. So mines that you select from universal equipment inflict 2d3 plus 3 damage instead, and friendly Ratling operatives, excluding Ogrin and Bulgrin operatives, are ignored for its effects, i.e. they can't trigger them or take damage from it, and this takes precedence over the normal mines rules. So it makes mines quite good. They do a decent amount of damage, and your Ratlings at least can scurry over them. But you do have to burn an equipment slot on the mines if you want to use them. It's not like the Grenadiers where they weirdly get the grenades for free. This guy who makes mines actually something you'd want to take. You do actually have to take the mines and burn an equipment slot. So we haven't seen their equipment. Will there be an absolute clanger in the equipment, which is like, well, you'll never take that, you'll take mines instead? Will they have an equipment that's like, you can take mines and you get 2 sets of mines, like we've seen equipment like that before as well, so who knows? But what's interesting about this operative is he does basically most of his work before he activates, right? You take him to gain access to mines and the tripwire, and then, yeah, okay, he's got his little 3-inch grenade, but your Ratling doesn't want to be within 3 inches of anybody, right? So essentially what you have here is a warrior with worse ballistic skill that brings you some cool pre-game abilities that also has like the various desperation moves of a slightly better close combat attack and a really cool but very small range grenade, which you're never going to plan to use, but you're going to use if somebody gets too close to you. Okay. It's an interesting operative for sure, and it kind of shows us the pattern. I think can we expect that for most of the specialists that they have, whose job isn't shooting anyway, they're gonna have -1. They're gonna have -1 ballistic skill. I think it's possible. And then we got Scarpa. So we've seen Scarpa before. We saw it in the first preview. I'll read it. Oh, my 3D printer wishes to communicate that it's finished. Okay. Scarpa. Despite their small stature, Ratlings are fleet of foot, using their speed and agility to outpace and evade their foes. After each enemy operative's activation, before the next operative is activated, you can perform a free dash action with one friendly Ratling operative, excluding a Bullgrin, Ogrin, and Sneak. Okay? But it can't finish that move within 3 of an enemy operative unless it's not visible to every enemy operative when it finishes that move. Each friendly operative can only do this once per turning point, and you cannot do so after the final activation of the turning point, and you cannot use this rule after consecutive enemy activations during the same turning point. In other words, after using this rule, you must skip the next opportunity during that turning point before you can use it again. So this is interesting. It reminds me a little bit of Hunter Clade. I've just reviewed them. I did my last big faction review was the Hunter Clade, and the Hunter Clade Rangers have an ability where they can all the Rangers can do a dash, and like the Ratlings, they have an ability, or they have if for them it's not the gun, it's an ability, but their guns are better when they haven't moved, so they get this dash, and then they'll be able to shoot as if they hadn't moved, which is cool. Scarpa is better because you can do it just before you activate the model, but in a way it's worse because you only get to do it for half your team effectively, and it's gonna just ameliorate some of that, like not being able to really do anything with your silent profile unless someone wanders into a shot. At least you're going to get a little dash to be able to kind of look around a corner and then potentially shoot someone with your sniper rifle and walk back. I don't think it's going to be that good. We'll see. It's gonna be a very tricky team with tricky deployment that I think, and the saddest part here is I think it's going to rely on your opponent making mistakes for you to get many shots with that stationary profile. We will see. We will see. And then we got purloined rations. So this is a second racial ability, okay, for the Ratlings. So purloined rations. Ratlings have a well-earned reputation for greed. No field kitchen is safe from their thieving hands. It's not uncommon for a Ratling to settle a rumbling belly with a link of freshly liberated protein reconstitution prior to firing a killing shot. Once per turning point, whenever a friendly Ratling operative, excluding the Battlemont, the Bullgrin and the Ogrin, is activated, you can use this rule. If you do until the end of the activation, improve the hit stat of the rifle if any by 1. So, I don't know how this will interact with your 2-up stationary profile. I don't think that there's a core rule anywhere that says things can't be modified to 1+. I mean, we used to have this in an old version of Fantasy Battles where you could be on a 1 to hit. And what it meant was, well, you're still hitting on 2s, but if you take -1 to hit, you're still hitting on 2s. But a 1 always misses. Is that a core? Is a 1 always misses actually written anywhere in the core book? Or a Games Workshop just assuming from like their kind of vague portfolio of assumed knowledge that that's there? I don't know. I don't know. But it seems like the main, or indeed the intended use for these, would be to take your specialists who are hitting on 3s and 4s, right? To bring them down so they can be hitting on 2s and 3s, right? To make them more useful. So that's nice. It's good. I don't know how many. Like, obviously, this guy pictured with his rifles in a nice little case because he's busy delivering his cakes or whatever he's got. He's probably also going to have a poor ballistic skill. So, you're going to have a few that are hitting on 3s. Maybe it's just for them. If it is for the entire team, like, they're going to need to clarify, I think, what happens with a 2-up. I don't think it's in the... Maybe it is. If it's a core rule that you always miss on a 1, then let me know. Yeah. And that's it. It's only a short little video. Didn't give us that much in the preview. I don't think the Ratlings are really good. I'm not that excited for them. I don't know how they'll work, especially on Killzone Volcus, where stationary shooting seems really poor. We don't have the whole picture. They might have loads of ploys and equipment that really helps them out and lets them get those shots. But we do have what's probably all of the team-wide special rules. So we can tell a fair bit. I want to say thank you to all my members, subscribers, and supporters. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Ratling team. Are you excited for them, or do you have the same misgivings that I do? Let me know. I need to give a shout out to everybody, but especially to Compendium Lover, who is a member, so he pays money, but he's a member at the highest, the top tier, so he pays quite a significant amount of money every single month. So thank you very much, Compendium Lover. Long may it continue, eh? And that's it. I will see you again, probably tomorrow, with either a faction rundown or if there's more news, there's more news. All right, see you guys. Have a good one. Bye bye. Cheery bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.